This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. Thank you for using IC Solutions. You may begin speaking now.
Hello?
Hey, Blaine Cooper, how you doing? You got Aaron and Rudy here. Is it okay for us both to talk to you?
What's that? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Hey, no, Blaine, this is Rudy Davis. I got my wife here, Aaron. Is it okay for us both to talk to you? You're not going to get in trouble for us both talking?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Very good. Well, it's good to hear from you.
Yeah. How you guys doing?
We're doing great, man. It's wonderful weather in Texas, and we're just trying to figure out what's going on in our country. You know, it's so much corruption in our judicial system and our legal system, FBI and Department of Justice, you know.
Yeah. You know, I was reading this book in my cell one day. It was by Kate Souza, and it's called The Key to Your Expected End. And I think it was probably maybe a quarter or halfway through the book, she started saying how everybody in the system says, or who's arrested says that the system's corrupt. And she goes on later to put an opinion that it's not. And I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to be reading this book anymore.
Oh, I've got some books.
That's not true.
Yeah.
It absolutely is corrupt.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, Blaine, I was going to send you some books, and I was going to write you some letters, and we have a little prison ministry in Texas. You know, we support.
Oh, do you? Praise God for that.
Yeah, we support a various.
I just led a man to the Lord. Yesterday or the day before.
Praise God, man. Praise God.
Yeah.
But they've got you on. They've got you with special rules. You're like we got like 15 prisoners we communicate with, but you're the only one that we can send a 6-inch by 4.5-inch postcard to. We can't send you an actual piece of paper or a letter, or can we send you books? I mean, do you know anything about that?
Well, here at Las Vegas Detention Center?
Right.
They won't let you. You can send a letter. There's people that get letters here all the time.
Really? Have you got any? Have you got any?
No, I haven't got any.
Wow.
When I was here the last time, I got a few, and then they moved me back to Oregon, and then they moved me to Inverness, and then they put me in Columbia County, and now they got me back here. And
wow. You know, because when I don't
talk to any lawyers, I don't get any news.
My goodness. Well,
kind of in the dark right now. So.
I got you. Well, one of the rules that I read when I looked up Las Vegas Detention Center was they would only allow 6-inch by 4.5-inch postcards. But if you can receive a letter, I'm going to send you some letters, and I got some books I want to send you too, because I think you might be interested.
Sure.
You know, I know we can't pass messages between prisoners, and I'm not going to do that because I know, you know, they monitor all these calls, but we support and communicate with Skylar Barbeau and a few other political prisoners as well.
Oh,
and
good. How's he doing? I haven't even heard anything.
Yeah, well, they got him locked up, you know,
right.
Yeah, and he hasn't even been to trial yet. He's still pre-trial, but we're praying for him. And hey, let me just ask you a question, and I don't want to put you on the spot, Blaine, and don't ever feel like you got to respond to anything, but you know, I'm just now coming up to speed with what's going on with the Bundy Ranch. You know, a lot of the details, what happened out there in what's it called, the
Oregon, but we've been very focused on Schaefer Cox's case.
Yeah, Schaefer Cox, I don't know if you've heard of him. We've been focused on him, and my wife is kind of more up to speed than I am, and she was telling me you were one of the very last ones to leave that, what's it called, the Malheur Ranch? Is that what
yeah.
I wasn't the last one to leave. The last ones to leave were Jason Patrick, Sean Anderson,
Gotcha.
and all those guys.
Okay.
When I got the news that Lavoie had been murdered,
right,
everybody was pretty scared to leave.
Yeah.
Because we thought, well, if we leave, are they just going to ambush and do the same thing to us? And, you know, Tench was high. A lot of things were said that people probably, didn't mean.
Right.
But we were so terrified we didn't know it, and.
Yeah.
And so I advocated to everybody, hey, they're going to come in. They're not going to let us out of these buildings. The point was made. There's no reason for anybody else to lose their life over this or to, And I tried to get people to go that night. I said, let's just leave out, an armed convoy. And so if we're all together, they probably aren't going to engage us, and we can get into another state, see if we can't get clemency from a sheriff, But nobody wanted to do that, except for a few of us, and so we left that night before a 4 a.m. deadline, and then they
Gotcha.
just started surrounding the refuge. And I told Jason Patrick, I said, well, maybe you should think about just coming with us, brother, because it at that point it was pretty much over. All the Bundys had been arrested. My friend had been killed, and at that point I just felt that it was my duty to try to get people out of there, because it's I don't want to be responsible for other people losing their life.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get them to safety, because they were very aggressive with the way they because this really was just a protest with firearms, because they have a First and a Second Amendment under the Constitution to do those things. And if you exhaust every legal avenue, what are you supposed to do? I mean, if you go through the sheriff, if you go through all the politicians, you do redress of grievances and petitions, and they just look at you like you're an idiot. You're going like, well, hey.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Sometimes you have to do something a bit extreme to make noise, to be like, hey, listen to us, pay attention, because what you're doing to these people is wrong. Amen.
I'm with you 100% on that. Absolutely.
All the prisoners that we focus on are Christians, and they're leaders like yourself, and they're political prisoners.
Right.
Yeah. Our government has extreme forms of entrapment, and you guys were taking a stand for, like you said, the First and Second Amendment. Let me share something with you that's going on the outside, Blaine, and then I'm just interested.
Well, I was going to say, and also Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 is very, very clear of where the federal government can and cannot own land, and that was part of the problem. Be like, why are they closing off these huge sections of land? Now your wildlife refuge to be one of them, for a bird to land on. Their own reports that we uncovered while we were there was saying that the birds were 14 times more likely to land on a ranch or private property than the refuge. Not even the birds want to land there. And this is their own scientific report that they did, and we're like, what in the world is this doing here?
Well, how long have you been in prison, and how much long? I mean, what's your sentence? What are you looking at?
I don't even know yet. I got arrested last February, and so I've been locked up ever since. I'm on the indictment in both cases, and right now I'm looking at somewhere between now and 6 years. So it could be less if the judge could not go along with the plea, and it could be more. I could get 25 years. So
Gotcha.
It's a pretty scary thing, and I really think that if you wanted to make the argument, say, okay, we take responsibility and would be held accountable, but I don't think that requires people serving the rest of their lives or even 6 years in prison. I think that's way extreme, draconian, and very obscene that the federal government would go to those lengths to squash the voice of some protesters.
Well,
because these aren't drug addicts. These aren't murderers. The Bundys are very, very good people.
Yeah, hey, just let me quickly say, I know my wife wants to say something. We deal with very good people all the time that are looking at 25, 30-year sentences.
The way we look at it is the bad guys have looked across the countryside, and they've picked out these leaders that are for the Constitution, and they've targeted them.
Well, absolutely, because if they have to listen to the Constitution, then they have to respond to the voice of their people. Then it hinders them from being able to have this big progressive government to squash people in their tracks to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
And for example, a lot of people don't know this about. Are you familiar with the Oak Creek Flats?
No, not at all.
No.
So the Apache stronghold, or Apache Native American land, there in Arizona, John McCain and Jeff Flake, under the National Defense Authorization Act that Obama signed, it signed for them to bring in a foreign corporation from Australia to mine their sacred Native American land for copper. Mm-hmm. All that money is going into the pockets of them two politicians and back to Australia. None of that money is going to benefit either the Native Americans or the American people. So here, the federal government thought they gave Native Americans what they thought was worthless land, and they're going like, well, oh my gosh, there's resources on it. We can make a lot of money. And what do? they go and take it. And what are the people supposed to do? They really they don't care about the voice of the people. Whatever they can do to line their greedy little pockets, that's what they do.
Yep. No.
That's good to know.
And to be honest, I'm not sure how the American people were dumb enough to elect somebody with the last name of Flake as a politician. What was your first clue?
Yeah, amen. And also, I could say the same thing about Barack Hussein Obama, but let me. You're in prison and you may not have a good, visibility into what's going on here on the outside. And I've got a friend who went through something very similar to what I'm about to describe. But when you're in prison like that, you obviously have people that, say that you deserve to be there. And you got your people, your haters, and, you have a team of people that obviously, slander you just like any other political prisoner.
Oh, absolutely.
And I want you to have a chance to respond to this, because this seems to be something prevalent about you when people start researching you. And my wife showed me a video, but they claim that you said you were in the Marines or in the military, and you never were. But yet my wife showed me a video where you were a part of a group that was standing outside of a courthouse, and some guy said all the veterans raised their hand, and you clearly did not raise their hand. But one of the prevalent things that is said about you over and over again is that you claim to be part of the military and you weren't. And I want you to have a chance to respond to that, because what do you say to these people that are claiming this about you?
Oh, well, I would say absolutely not. I said the exact opposite. And actually, if people were smart enough to go through my videos on Facebook, I did several statements on this. And it actually started as a rumor off a YouTube video. Now, my dad served in the Marine Corps, and he bought me a Marine Corps hat, like a baseball cap, not an actual cap for the Marine. And he bought me a little red T-shirt. And I have a profile picture for a while because I'm an avid bodybuilder. I used to work out in it, and I supported Marines and things like that. But I never told anybody I was in the Marine Corps. And I think what happened when I confronted John McCain to be arrested for treason, a video that went viral, they saw that picture and automatically assumed that I served in the Marine. And they titled that video, "Marine Calls for John McCain to be arrested for treason." And I specifically commented and wrote that guy on his YouTube channel over and over again, tell him to please take that down, that I did not serve, to please just put my name. And it caused me a lot of problems. Well, RT America called me at my house. The producer says, "Would you like to come into our studio and do an interview?" And I said, "Absolutely, I would love to." And I said, "Can you tell me what questions you're going to ask me? I've never been on TV before, and I'm a little nervous." And I said, "I'd like to know what's expected in it." And they said that they would, but they never did. So I showed up to the interview anyway. And then so on national TV, they started calling me a Marine, and I should have said something on that show. I didn't say yes or no. I just kind of got through the interview. But I thought that was like pre-recorded and they'll upload later. But immediately when I got done with the interview, I called the producer and said, "Who told you guys I was in the Marine Corps?" And they go, "Oh, we're really sorry." And they took the video off of their YouTube channel, but it still leaked out, and it caused me a lot of problems. So I'm like, I really should have said something. And it's an honest mistake. I just, when I did the interview, I was like a deer in the headlights type of thing, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're saying this. And I thought it was just more important that I just get the interview done, and I just let them know after it, because I thought it was one of those things they pre-recorded, and the news media does that sometimes during their live stream, and then they'll say, "Well, I interviewed Blaine Cooper," and then they put in the pre-recorded interview. And so,
Blaine, just so you know, that's a standard trick that they pull regularly.
Yeah, and let me.
Right. And so, but I mean, if you ask Manny Vega, who's an 11-year combat veteran Marine, or John Ritzheimer, who's an 11 combat veteran Marine, I've never told either one of them guys that I served in the Marines, and they know that. Yeah,
I can totally follow exactly what you're saying, Blaine. We have a friend. The exact same thing happened to him. He started, getting fairly popular, and they said that he was a Marine, and he never claimed he was a Marine, and they tried to use that to discredit him. It seems to be like a standard trick that they.
Absolutely. Now they did smear me on one site because they said that I was I was in a delayed entry program and I never showed up, and what happened was when I was 18, 20, I can't remember how old I was but anyway, I enlisted with the Marine Corps, and I was scheduled to go. I swore my oath, and I went to MEPS and did my medical. It's like 8 hours of medical, and I was going to a lot of pool functions, and then my friend got raped, or almost raped at a party. The guy beat her up pretty bad, and she came over to my house one night, so I took the law into my own hands, and I kicked his door in, and I beat him up in his own kitchen. And so they arrested me, and I had to do quite a bit of, I think I did like 60 days, 90 days for that. But it screwed up I couldn't go in the Marine Corps after that. They said because I did that, I couldn't go in, and they couldn't waive it at the time. And then, so I just gave up. I never went and tried to go back in. So,
well,
this is all explainable, but I don't think they don't want to hear the truth. They just want to make up and believe whatever they want to believe. I don't care. I'm still going to, whether they like me or not, whether they can believe whatever they want, but that's the truth. And, people have a hard time accepting the truth.
No, amen.
I believe you.
So, and I love the Marines. I love our armed forces. If they asked me to go overseas right now to fight for this nation, I'd leave right now. I have no problem. And I think I would do pretty good in boot camp, even at my age.
Well,
I'm physically capable.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, with my record, they won't waive all this stuff, and unless there was like some miracle where they said, well, we're going to let you in anyway, I'd absolutely go. I would love to.
Yeah. But, well, as long as it's not a banker's war, right? That they're setting us up over a false flag or something like that. But
yeah. Well, and see, and so I thought, well, I couldn't serve my country that way. I wanted to serve it a different way. So when I started seeing the border problems, John McCain hanging out with terrorists in Syria, I don't know if you remember, but the people they were giving arms to over the Free Syrian Army was actually Al-Qaeda and some other factions who were molded together in that little group, but they were cutting out the heart and livers of dead Christians and eating it. Glenn Beck did a report on it and showed it to everybody and says, oh my gosh, why are we arming these people? And it's clearly treason.
Yeah.
And it's not so much that, it's like, why would you give these people arms? Would you go into Compton and arm all the gang members? Well, no. Yeah. Well, then why would you arm psychos who want to, murder Christians across the Middle East?
Yeah. No, our government is corrupt as you can get.
This is really... Now, you know who Michael Flynn is, right?
I've heard the name a few times.
He's a general.
So I thought it was funny how the news media and everybody is attacking Trump on this whole Russia thing. Nobody attacked Obama when Obama sided with Al-Qaeda in the war on terror in 2012, which was admitted on Al Jazeera national TV by Michael Flynn. You can look that video up on my Facebook or on YouTube, and he admitted how Obama sided with terrorists in the war on terror.
Yeah, I know.
So,
hey, is it okay to upload this call to YouTube?
Well, no, I don't think you... No.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, and the next thing I want to tell you is I don't know if you remember this or not, and I'm going to try and jog your memory here just so you know who you're talking to. I think you called me when we were doing the Kent Hovind campaign.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Kent Hovind. I like Kent Hovind. I think he's awesome.
And you called me one day and we talked, so you know who I am.
Okay, yeah, I think I remember. I've talked to so many people, so I apologize if I don't remember the entire conversation, but I do remember talking to you. So.
Yeah, that's how we got involved with prisoner. We just shine light and make noise for political prisoners.
When is your trial date, so people can know, like, when you're...
I don't have a trial. I'm in a I took a non-cooperative plea for 6 years, and... after a year of listening to my little girl cry and just the phone calls have been hard for us all. I had to compromise and I cooperated a little bit. I had to give them because they were going to
1 minute remaining.
SWAT raid my house for some hard drives I had, and so I just gave them over to them and so I and so that could get me a little less time, but I'm probably still going to go do some time and hopefully it's all over with. Do you guys want me to call back?
Yeah, if you want to. And just so you know, I sent your girls Christmas presents.
Oh, thank you very much. I sure miss my little bumbers.
Yeah, we saw a video of them. You got some very beautiful children, Blaine.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I have a beautiful wife too, but we're all having a hard time right now. They're ready to be homeless. We got a letter from the bank that we have to be out there in April. So,
Wow.
and I don't know where they're going to go.
Wow.
It's not an easy deal, and so.
My goodness.
Not fair.
But I got a lot of hate mail for the co-opper thing, and people wanted to kill me, and I'm like, I didn't have a choice.
Well, they weren't there, and they don't have 2 little girls at home. That's all I have to say about that.